Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another SUGCON from sunny London. Today, we will talk about real-world content modeling with our Sitecore products and explain the principles for maximizing your content to create personalized experiences. So, a quick introduction on who we are. I'm Sumith Damodaran, Senior Product Manager at Sitecore. I've been in the industry for a very good long time, and in the world of Sitecore for nearly 13 years. And with me, I have Daria. She is a PhD holder in content modeling and working with Sitecore as a technical trainer, looking around Content Hub implementations and enterprise implementations. Here is a quick look into what we're going to cover today. We're going to start with a story, then we will move towards content modeling in Sitecore, the importance of that, and then we'll take you to the journey of content modeling with Content Hub, some typical mistakes, what could go wrong, what to look out for. We will then show you how you can implement that use case in Content Hub, and then map that with our Sitecore website. And show some things that you should look out for. And this is going to take us towards the seamless integration between both our products, Content Hub and Sitecore. So the delicious story. So we'll take you through the use case. And the use case is we have a company, an organization, Delicious. They are an influencer agency with a focus on food and beverage industry. They're looking for a platform to create the most effective campaigns within the food industry. So I just have a quick look into I just added the design over there. So this is what they are trying to achieve on their web channel, and similar stuff they would like to do it on their other channels. So they want to promote their food and beverages across all the channels they have. So that's an output they are looking to see with a platform, and that could be Sitecore Content Hub, you'll see. So if you want to create a consistent experience for all your channels with seamless connection with the DAM, digital asset management platform, and content, you'll have to create a proper skeleton of data. To achieve that, you need to think of how to include your digital assets and content together into one platform. In other words, we need to do proper modeling. So now, first thing we are going to talk about is content modeling in Content Hub. And that should be used across all the channels, across all your brands. And the key here is it should be done in a smarter way. So Daria, could you tell us about content modeling and why is it important for content strategists to think about that before even they start thinking of serving that into various channels?
Yes, sure. I will be happy to. One moment, I will share my screen. Oops. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that I don't have a permission to share my screen for now. So if Sumit, could you continue with your with the presentation? One moment, I will try to do that again.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry about that.
That's always a thing with a live presentation. Switching between.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. For some reason, I'm unable to share my screen. So Sumit, if you could share your screen now.
So,
then I will just.
What I'll try is one more time. I think that maybe I'm sharing the screen. That's why you're not able to. So I'm going to stop it, and then we can try one more time. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll switch back.
Okay. Yeah. Normally should allow. Yeah, it says that it lost permission to do that.
Okay, moderators, anyone can help us with that, or I can start sharing?
I think I know what's happening, and it might be the problem with. Yeah. So sorry, the Google Chrome just lost the permission for sharing my screen in for my computer. That's the problem, and the only way I will be able to recover it is by quitting Chrome and coming back to the meeting, which is probably not the most feasible. So let's do it from here.
And then, and then you can come back for the demo first. Yeah. So let's just do some. We'll move on with that here. So you can see my screen again.
Yep. Okay, great. So sorry about that. That happens. What I'm going to talk about, the conceptual modeling and domain modeling per se. So I'm going to talk about structural modeling, behavioral modeling, and the typical modeling errors that we can meet, not only in Content Hub, but everywhere. So let's continue with that. So if we talk about modeling, and I come from the academic world, so my entire PhD was dedicated to mistakes that novice modelers make when they create domain models, and all possible ways to avoid them, and also the ways to teach conceptual modeling. And we are talking about a very general thing that comes with abstract thinking. So we go all the way from the delicious case that we have, the use case that we want to create a website that has recipes in it, that has chefs in it, etc. So we have a real world situation that we want to model. And this is what structural modeling is about. It's a skeleton, it's a static structure of the system. And for example, if we have the real life situation that we want to build a house, but this house, it comes probably from a project, and this project is created by an architect, and this project is executed by a contractor. So this structure, this static structure is there. This is the model of our system, the static model of our system, and it can be used for information systems. It can be used for databases. It can be used for whatever implementation you have for your model, like just for explanation to your stakeholders. It can be used in many, many ways. So, and also, of course, we have not only static model, we also have a dynamic model. So we can model the dynamic structure of the system. So there are many ways to do that. That's commonly done with state flows, so finite state machines, business process modeling, etc. So, for example, in this case, we have a house, but the house can be in different states. The house can be just created under construction, and when we finalize it, it is built. And when we demolish it, for example, it's ended. So we have these transitions that we can execute for any object in our system, any class in our system. But we also, so now we are talking about a very abstract level. The way we take the real world and try to present it in as a model, and understand it as a model, so formalize it so it could be put in our system. So we can continue from here. In Content Hub, you can do both structural and behavioral modeling, which is, of course, quite powerful. And again, when we come back to the case of a website, if this website is based on the content that comes from Content Hub, and that's what we want to achieve, because we want to have structured content, we want to have consistent content, and we want to have a systematic way of storing it. We use the first thing that we have to create and we use in Content Hub is domain model. So domain model is the representation of the marketing world of a customer. It stores it has the types of entities that will be stored in the DAM, and it also includes the relations and inheritance of information between those entities. So this is the domain model. And on the right, you can see a domain model sketch. It is not ideal. So this is something like this is a very, let's say, draft domain model. So you cannot view it as a proper one, because I will tell later about the pragmatic quality of models. But this is what we want to achieve in our project. We want to have recipes as our core content in a blog, or in our website. And these recipes are created by chefs. And we also have some ingredients of which these recipes consist. And so we have a number of entities and a number of relations between those entities that together constitute a domain model. So if we go further, in the Content Hub, we have different types of terms that, the terms that I will be using. I think that's quite important to take a look at them, because I know that people in the community, they are used, of course, to the terms of Sitecore XP, for example. In Content Hub, they are slightly different. And in Content Hub, you have entities. So entities are real-world concepts represented in the DAM, such as assets or products or brand or recipes or ingredients. So these are the entities. So these are like the nodes of our structural model. And we also have entity definitions. So they define how an entity is structured, and they have all the metadata properties and relations to other entities. Then we also have the links, the relations, the links between two entities. And these relations in Content Hub can be of two kinds. They can be taxonomic and they can be non-taxonomic. So a relation is basically a link that allows to display data on detail pages from the parent-child direct relationship. And it cannot inherit, it cannot cascade data security with the hierarchical, let's say, family tree. So the non-taxonomic relation is just quite simple. If we can go to the next slide. So taxonomic relations, on the other hand, they are quite powerful. So they can be used for advanced metadata and security inheritance, and they can be used for facet search and search pages. So if they can also be cascaded. So you can see that we have, for example, the asset. So this asset has a related recipe, and this recipe has an author. So we can cascade the chef's name all the way to the recipe as a chef author, and all the way to the asset as a chef author of the related recipe. So this is an important feature that the domain model of inside the Content Hub has, and it's very important to use it correctly, because it's quite a usual mistake to forget that the relation should be taxonomic. Then you are out of this inheritance relationship and you cannot cascade. You can also for example, have the reversed parent-child relationship that also can impact the logic of the whole model, and then later on it will propagate all the way to your website, for example, if you take the data from Content Hub. So this is the structural modeling, let's say, background for the Content Hub. And we can continue here. So we have the most powerful part of the Content Hub is its schema. So the schema is basically this whole structure that systematizes the entities within Content Hub. And we have a basic schema on the left, and this basic schema comes just as is when you create a sandbox, or you create a Content Hub instance. And the core of the entity of this schema would be asset, m.asset. So this asset is super important. These will be, so our assets are all kinds of files, starting from the JPEGs or PDFs or videos or whatever you want to use further as your content. But we also have all kinds of entities that are related to the to assets. So we have, for example, the brands, we have the asset types, we have the products, and all of these entities, they are included already out of the box in Content Hub. And what we can do, we can, using the requirements, update the schema and create the advanced schema. And on the right, you can see that we have updated the schema, and actually now we have two core entities, because m.asset is, of course, super important, still super important. But we also have a very important entity, recipe. And this recipe has its own taxonomies and also own related entities, such as chef, ingredient. It has its own life cycle. So that's also important. So we are talking about behavioral modeling. We also want recipes to have life cycles, not only content, for example, not only assets, because assets also have their own life cycles. Assets can be created, they can be under review, they can be rejected, they can be approved. So all the asset also goes through its own transitions, and we want our recipe to also go through certain transitions that will allow it to will allow us to interact with with our content in the most effective way, and assign different tasks to different users, etc., etc., etc. So for the behavioral modeling in Content Hub, we are using state flows. And on the right, you can see just the state flow for the recipe, the setup of this state flow for the recipe. So a recipe, in our case, can be in draft, in a draft state, under construction, so working, review, approved, and ready. So, and we have different transitions. So if you see the state changes on the right, like from start to working, send for review, etc. So these are the transitions that we implement, so our recipe could change its state, and we can assign this recipe and its workflow. We can assign it actually to different users. On the left, you can see the recipe detail page. And in the recipe workflow, you can see that you can actually visualize in Content Hub whether the entity is in a draft state or in working, on review or approved. And for every state, you can have the user groups that are assigned to this particular stage of the life cycle of recipe. So this is the behavioral model, how behavioral modeling is executed in Content Hub. And so overall, what I also wanted to mention, coming from the academic world of modeling, I was amazed how Content Hub was closely related to all the ground principles of modeling that are used worldwide in the worldwide academia related to modeling. And I think that it's quite a unique system in that sense, because I think these interactions between structure and behavior are very neatly done. So yeah, we will see later in the demo that it is possible to implement these small things in practice for building a website. Yeah, I think it's quite exciting. So yeah, here the next slide is about the topic that I think sometimes goes, let's say, underrepresented when we talk about creating creating domain models, and if we talk about creating content. So the modeling quality. So modeling quality is I think a very important part of the process of the creation of a website or whatever final result you want to achieve. Because again, we have this skeleton, the domain model. This domain model will lead us all the way. We build on top of it. And the quality of that model, I think that's something that we should pay special attention to. And for me as a trainer, yeah, I'm a technical trainer for Content Hub. For me, it's super important when I teach to emphasize these small things that you can do to avoid further propagation of errors. So if we talk about modeling quality, the modeling quality can be divided into 3 kinds. And this is a modeling quality framework that was developed by Lindland quite some time ago. I think it was in the 90s, but it's still widely used in the entire modeling community because, yeah, it's quite generic, I think. So we can talk about syntactic quality of a model. So syntactic correctness of a model, naming conventions, modeling language conventions. So these will not be too much represented in Content Hub because Content Hub is already quite foolproof in terms of syntax. Yeah, it will just not let you create, for example, some wrong name that will not be accepted by the system. So there are some checks on the way, but still, yeah, this is the type of quality we have to take a look at. Also, semantic quality. I think that one is probably the most. Yeah, sorry, could you go back? Yeah, semantic quality I think is super important because this is basically the validity and the semantic correctness of the model. So how well does it reflect the real world? How well does it reflect the requirements and whether it's consistent, this model? So this is also the aspect that we should pay special attention to. And the last one is pragmatic quality, whether it's readable, structured, and whether it's economical, this model. Because, of course, readability of the model, when we talk about Content Hub in particular, it won't be much of an issue because we have already the preset tools that allow us to visualize the model, like this schema view, but the tree view of the schema. But the structural economy can be an issue because there are the same task, the same modeling task can be solved with, let's say, 20 entities, and it can be solved with 10 entities. And both of these solutions would be correct in terms of semantics, but in terms of pragmatics, they would not be, one of them would not be economical. It would just have 20 entities instead of 10. That might be an issue, yeah. So, yeah, again, if we talk about the Content Hub implication of modeling quality, yeah, syntactic quality will only play a larger role when we create prototypes. So when we create like this sketch model from the requirements, whether if we want to use our some modeling languages like UML, for example, whether we use them correctly or not, whether we use the correct syntax. Also, what can be element of syntactic quality, how we name our entities and relations and properties. So, for example, we have some naming conventions that in Content Hub, the system entities would be named like m.asset, yeah. And if we create relations, we would like to create them from the parent to the child. Yeah, so asset type to asset would say that, okay, asset type is a parent of asset, and that's a this is a naming convention that is also an element of pragmatic quality. Yeah, we want to our relations to be readable. Yeah, so the next, this is how it looks like. I just wanted to demonstrate that we have for our system entities and taxonomies, we have M dot in the beginning, just to make sure when we create something new, I think the good practice would be to name it differently, not starting with M, because M is some system property, system entity that we probably don't want to delete, for example. And we should be careful with these things. Yeah. So the next is the semantic quality. And again, in Content Hub, we should pay special attention to the semantic quality of a model. You can continue with to the next slide. Yeah, so this model, for example, this model that we have, this is the model that we would use for our delicious case. We have there, again, recipes and recipe types, ingredients, ingredient types, content that is related to recipes, chefs that created the recipes, and of course, the products and assets that are related to those recipes. And this model, this is the model that we will use to create our Content Hub domain model. This one is good in terms of semantic quality because we can see all the cardinalities, who is the parent of whom. So because we have the direction of the arrow, which will show us what is the relation between the two entities. And this, our main task, basically, when we talk about solving a case, we are, I kind of name it solving the case, because it's solving a problem, solving a modeling problem. You have the requirements, and the most complicated part here is actually to come from the requirements to this schema, to this model. It's extremely hard, and this is where the problems appear, not in the moment. So of course, in the moment when you transfer this model to Content Hub, this also you can make some mistakes because of probably sometimes you don't remember where to find something in the user interface, or you forget to publish your schema, or there are a lot of things that can go wrong. But the drastic changes that happen, they happen on this level of this abstract model. So I think that it's not very popular these days to create models, to create like these models of this type. But I think that particularly for Content Hub and content modeling, for Content Hub, it's extremely important to have a structural model, and of course the behavioral model written down in like on paper, as a picture, because I think there are a lot of places where it can go wrong if it's not done, and I can imagine situations when people don't do it, and I think that even in my trainees I sometimes see it. This is from the point of view of semantic quality, this model is good. So this is actually the that model implemented in practice with all the entities and all the relations. So these are the relations that we also implemented. So within the schema, we can create relations between different entities. And we have, for example, recipe to asset. Recipe is a parent of asset. And this is the list of relations that we have that we really want to have correct. And this list of relations is direct reflection of our initial domain model that we've shown previously. So this transfer is very important. If we can double check and check every relation for its direction, for its multiplicity, for the naming conventions, then this would be a good checklist to go through, and we will be good to go. And that's again what we teach at our trainings for Content Hub implementation, to go through all these checks and to double check several times when you look into your requirements, look into your model, look into your system, look into your requirements, model, system. So this way, going around, you can catch a lot of mistakes on the way, because sometimes you also have mistakes in the, you have some unclear requirements, and then you have to go back to your customer and ask what exactly they meant. And so this entire process of, in a way, in the beginning, of course, it's requirements engineering, and it's requirements collection. All of this is a cycle that it's good to go through and come back to the model and to the requirements. So if we talk about pragmatic quality, we will ask whether the model is efficient. Can we optimize it further? Is it readable? And are the names meaningful? So the next one, for example, as I said, this model is not pragmatically correct, because we don't see the multiplicities, we don't see the directions. So the next one would be much, much, much better in terms of pragmatic quality. So typical modeling mistakes. The most crucial modeling errors are semantic. And these list of modeling errors in novice modelers actually comes from my own research, and not only my own, because it was a comparison between different sources. It's amazing how common certain mistakes are, and how the list of these mistakes is similar in novice modelers who are students, novice modelers, not novice even modelers, just modelers who work in the industry, and what I see also in my trainees during the courses. The first and foremost, wrong multiplicity on associations. One-to-many versus many-to-many versus one-to-one. It's the queen of all mistakes, and sometimes it ends up with not pleasant situations when we talk about access, for example, when we talk about security. Missing entities. People forget to model an entity separately and model it, let's say, as just as a string property. So don't create a separate entity for it. Missing relations. We forget to connect. So all these parent-child confusion, wrong choice of data type, superfluous entities, superfluous relations, all of them are very common errors. Okay, so this is just, I will just quickly go into one mistake example, and then I will give floor to Sumith. So what happens if you have a wrong multiplicity? So if you have an asset that should have a content security property that should be either restricted or non-restricted, we create many-to-many relation between content security and asset. And as a result, an asset can be both restricted and non-restricted at the same time, which is a very sad story. And we cannot change it after all. So these are some other errors like missing entities. And also, we have like a third one. The parent-child roles inverted. It's also a common problem. It just creates the incorrect logic of the domain model. So again, before I give the floor to Sumith, I think that's, I'm a bit over time. I'm sorry about that. This will be the schema for Delicious, the one that we will be using for our website. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, this is the recipe search page that we have in Content Hub, and we have the list of recipes there that we have created to be used in our website. And we have also the ingredients that we will use that are related to the recipes. So these recipes are using the ingredients. And yeah, the last thing to say, the Content Hub, it aggregates the data. It allows it to, so the importance of the correct domain model in the Content Hub is that we can aggregate and structure the data in the correct way, information in the correct way, and then we can seamlessly publish it and seamlessly use it, and always make sure that it is consistent and all the relations are propagate the correct way. So now I will give floor to Sumith. I'm sorry, I was a bit over time. You are muted, Sumith.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Daria. I think we saw that although we wanted to do a quick demo of all the schema and the pages, we may loop back to that if we get a bit more time in the end. So I'm going to continue with my presentation. I'm doing this type of screen because I will also have to share some screens and demo. Yeah. So as we saw, we need channel agnostic content, and how we can use it with Content Hub as your main content repository for your digital media asset and your content. Yeah. So now what we are going to look into is how we can bring our Sitecore experience platform into the mix. We are considering, in this case for Delicious, we're considering the Sitecore experience platform as our web channel. And then similar to that, if you notice what Daria said, and we come from a Sitecore world, and most of us, when we build a Sitecore website, we are starting from the information architecture of the website. But most of the CMS out there follow those same principles that Daria spoke about. So in other words, in Content Hub, we design the schema, the members for those schemas, etc., etc. And the similar stuff, we translate that as templates in Sitecore. So in the world of Sitecore, we know though that translates to templates. So we will have a recipe template, a chef template, an image template, or image we already have in our media library, and then ingredients. So similar recipes, but a different structure. Yeah, but the fundamentals are the same. So just to reiterate and remind everyone that Sitecore XP and Content Hub is a combination for you to do proper content to power your personalization at scale. So you share data with your content, and then the engagement is passed between XP and Content Hub. That will enable your marketeers and the content team to work smarter, so they don't actually have to think of where is my content? Is it all scattered across various different platforms? Can I do a personalization or not, and so on. So it's like one place for all your brands, and then you can start thinking of different channels like web, mobile, email, social, etc., etc. After that. So just a quick data flow. How would that look like? So you have Content Hub DAM here that you use for approved images and video. Then you create your content, just like what Daria said. So you're creating the recipes over there. That is composed of rich text and some media and assets. You may live in that space for some time by planning, collaborating, and reviewing, and making sure that you're ready for it. So once you're done, that can be picked up by Sitecore Experience Platform. This is where you can do personalization, optimization, etc. for your channels. And then that should bring back information to Content Hub, and that will enable you to have more content ideation. How can you cater to more business needs for your customer? And then you keep on doing that loop within Content Hub again. So how to do that? So we've been talking about Sitecore Connect for Content Hub for a while. Last year, we came up with that. It's still a connector, but I just want it to be a bit more integrated. So this is a connector that enables transferring the data between Sitecore and Content Hub. We had initially two connectors, one for the content, another one was for DAM. I think recently we merged it into one. So Sitecore Connect for CMP and DAM is merged. And now we rebranded it as Sitecore Connect for Content Hub. It's available for all customers, the newer version from 9.3 and higher. And we also try to create one extra feature. We are seeing a lot of customers on Sitecore 9.1.1. So we also have same features, same connector on that for that particular version too. So a quick recap on what it can do, the features it has, and what is coming soon. So if someone is actually planning to use it, what are they going to get? So the 3.0 versions have all the field types and a bit more stable and fault tolerant. You can also bring in taxonomies and tags from Content Hub back to Sitecore. Then we started looking into enabling relationship and entities, so you can actually start building the same idea what Daria mentioned around chef, ingredients, recipes, and if there is relationship, you're going to bring it. The biggest one was container support. So since Sitecore 10.1 supports containers, we wanted to make sure the connector actually supports that. So that was what is there in Content Hub 4.0. Newer versions are coming soon. And we are actually looking at enhancing the DAM capabilities by giving more options for our contributors to use media links and attachments, etc., etc. They're thinking of somehow enabling where is my content is being used in Content Hub. And features like, and the upcoming features would be like analytics transfer or automatic schema sync, etc. So that is a high-level roadmap and what is currently available. A quick look again into the internals of how it actually works. So we got Sitecore Content Hub. This is where you do all your content or even media, and then you publish. Once you publish, it's been picked up by the service bus, and the connector that it's listening to the bus. We write that data back to Sitecore. And then if in the future, if we need to, we will actually use the same bus to transfer the data back to Content Hub. For instance, we want to show it to the container where the data is being used or what was the quality in terms of the analytics. Okay, so a quick demo. So we talked about Delicious. And Delicious has been using Sitecore Content Hub. So I'm going to show you, if Daria, if you have chance, maybe you can take it. Otherwise, I'm just going to quickly show you the Content Hub screen. Can everyone's screen see my Content Hub screen? Is that yes or a no from my moderators? Or is this visible, guys? The screen for Content Hub?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. So I just was thinking whether I just shared an application or the screen. So we got Sitecore Content Hub. In here we have defined different schemas and recipes. So you can see various different options for the content strategist to build Delicious. So we got different schema. We have a schema for recipe. And as what Daria mentioned, that we have different members already defined. It has some preparation, it has some relationship, and so on and so on. So on top of it, after you define your schema, you can also design what the content strategist is going to look into. So in here on the menu out of the box, you don't see that. So you have to build some pages, which could be a detail page or a search page. So in this case, we have defined a detail page for the recipe. So you can see all the list of all the recipes available here. And then the editor can either add a new recipe or can edit an existing one. So we got the Delicious Home Burger. Over here, you're defining the information of the recipe, the description, the steps that you need to follow to build that beautiful burger. the preparation time and the ingredients that is used, the assets that is used, etc., etc. So I have already installed the connector on this delicious website. So let's just quickly look into the website. I think that's the one. Yeah. So this is how the website looks like. Most of the content on this website is coming from Content Hub, so nothing is there in Sitecore. Yeah, and then you have the delicious homemade burger that we just saw. When I click on see recipes, actually brings the same thing: delicious homemade burger, preparation time, and all the other information coming from Content Hub. How to achieve that? Again, we have installed the CMP connector here. So on the system, okay, it's been away for a while. On the system, you can see modules, and in the modules we got both the connector settings. So after you install it, you see both of them. Then what you do is you define the mapping. So in this case, I have a recipe mapping, which actually is looking at fl.recipe, and that is exactly the same what we see here. Yeah, so that is fl.recipe as a schema. And then where should it go? It should go under recipes. So that's my folder in the home page. So all the recipes goes here, and then the template. And then what you define is basically you define all the mappings. I haven't defined all the mappings. I just left it for demo. The mappings which I needed to make sure the demo actually works. Same thing, I can do ingredients, chef, etc. So you can basically define your mappings in this configuration area. Once the mapping is done, if you remember the internals, we start listening to the bus. So any activity that happens on here, we will be listening to that. So how to do that is again another setting. So you go in manage, you create some actions, and then you define the rules on what to listen and what to ignore. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into details of that already over time. So if you look at it, so on my home page, I have the delicious home burger. You enjoy and then we have a link which actually showcases the burger. So what I'll do is I'll actually pick the same one. So I'll pick the same burger here. And just to say I'm not doing some dark magic, if you look at others like salad for SUGCON, if I go into Containator, that has been already synced from Sitecore. So that's the salad from SUGCON. Yeah. So let's just make a delicious burger for SUGCON. Yeah. So go back in here, and I think we need a SUGCON burger. It's already an afternoon. And I save that. What I'll do is also update the assets. Let's just bring some new asset to that. I'll add, I think I've already uploaded it. So I add an existing item. Let's see if I have the delicious, nope, I don't, I may be mistyping that. So going through this. Yeah, so I got SUGCON labeled burger here. So let's just add that. Also, let me refresh it and see if it comes in. Yeah, that's the one. And I'll make that my master. So that's my master. So if I go back here, so I got a delicious homemade burger, SUGCON 2021. I change the asset. If I then go back to my main view, that is what it is. Yeah, so that's the burger we want. So now if I refresh Sitecore, yeah, so hopefully demo gods, yeah, we can see that the delicious homemade burger for SUGCON has appeared. Yeah, and we can also see that the image has been updated. So if I then browse this image, I don't need to browse it. I don't need to show that, but I can show it to you here. You can see the preview of that image. Yeah, so that has been bought by our connector from the update that we just did. Yeah. I also just quickly wanted to show that you can use the DAM connector. So the browse Sitecore actually uses the DAM connector, and you can update your assets from Sitecore DAM, use the search page of all the approved assets, and then create a public link and add it there too. Yeah, so the next thing to do is basically, let's see whether we actually get that burger updated on the homepage. Yeah, there you go. So that's our delicious burger for SUGCON 2021 on the homepage, yeah, with an updated media asset coming from Content Hub. using our DAM connector. And it just keeps on. Need to pause that. And then we have the same information again updated from Content Hub. As you can see, the typo here. Let's just quickly do that. This is some burger. Description. Yeah, there it is. And also I can go in and update different media for my website there. So all I have to do here is install the connector and do some configuration, create a service bus, and then automatically the data is transferred. I'm doing one dark magic that I'm actually using the master database. So overall, once the content has been pushed back to Sitecore, you'll give an opportunity for the content editor to make sure that everything else is in place. And if not, again, go back to just like the way I just updated my the text for the beginner. I think if I refresh that, that should be, yep, that is there. That is updated real time. So yeah, so that gives an opportunity for content editor to do a quick check on the website and update accordingly. So that's a quick demo, and I'm thinking to do similar demos for others if people are interested in. We are almost close to the time. So what you can see is basically a single content repository for scalability, engagement, efficiency, and ultimately making the content scalable for your brands, for your channels across the organization. So Daria, you want to jump in and we can take the last few slides together?
Yeah, it's just that, yeah, we are already over time. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you are very welcome to come to training with Sitecore because, yeah, I teach Content Hub implementations, but not only me, but the whole training team at Knowledge and Learning. They will be super happy if you join the training. And if you want also to talk about the domain modeling, yeah, these are the dates of the next trainings in different time zones. If you want, yeah, on the next slide, we have like the one for the enterprise training. So yeah, and also just an announcement for everyone, Content Hub certification exam coming in June. Yeah, that will be already, you can be a certified Content Hub developer or Content Hub administrator. It will come end of June. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for listening.
Yes, thank you so much for listening in. If you have any questions, anything, I'd definitely like to get more feedback if you are using or planning to use the connectors to see what use cases you are thinking of or what use cases do you guys have. So reach us. I'm on Twitter. I have my Sitecore email here or LinkedIn or wherever possible. So just let us know how do you want to consume this connector. Thanks again, and back to the main board.
Perfect. Thank you, both of you, for taking the time to do the presentation and speak. It was really good. We have 2 minutes before the next session will start. So if any comments or questions, please feel free to fill in. Or we will just take two of you off and welcome the 2 next speakers.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Yep, thank you.
Bye.
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 Now is the time for solidarity in the face of this threat to all of humanity. I implore leaders to stand together and heed this appeal.